360 con Javier Bota.
Amigos, ¿cómo están? Espero que estén disfrutando de su viaje por las calles y carreteras aquí en Estados Unidos. Esta es una edición más de Auto 060. Vamos a tener un show muy interesante. Vamos a empezar con el reporte de salud de los autos en Estados Unidos. Y se van a preguntar si este es un show de medicina o qué está pasando aquí, un poco de confusión, pero no, efectivamente es un reporte anual de la compañía CarMD que analiza lo que pasa con los autos, sobre todo cuando ustedes y yo y quizá todo el mundo que nos está escuchando no le pone atención a esa lucecita que es el check engine. También vamos a hablar con un experto de Edmunds.com que nos va a explicar los detalles de un proyecto muy interesante que se llama el Debt Free Car, o sea, un auto sin deuda, es decir, comprar un auto usado, mantenerlo, y ellos tuvieron un auto por un año completo para analizar exactamente el costo de la compra inicial y luego el mantenimiento. Hicieron incluso un viaje muy largo a través de todo el país, datos muy interesantes y consejos de qué hacer a la hora de comprar, tener, mantener y luego vender un auto usado. Vamos a estar también aquí en Miami Beach en la conferencia Hispanic 2013 con representantes de la Toyota, las iniciativas que apoya la compañía Toyota y también con General Motors. Y al final, una sorpresa, estén muy atentos porque vamos a regalarles un equipo para que puedan escuchar Christina Radio Network y toda la programación en Sirius XM Radio. And now we're going to switch back to English because we have our first guest. We have Christine Brokoff from CarMD. How are you, Christine? Hello?
Yes.
Hi, Kristen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So as I was saying in the introduction of the show, we are going to talk about health, but not to be confused with our health, but the health of our cars, right? So the 2013 CarMD Vehicle Health Index. Can you explain a little bit what is this?
Yes, CarMD has a database of millions of repairs from when your check engine light comes on, and we work with mechanics and technicians all across the country who report to our database. So we're studying the most common reasons that the check engine light came on last year and trying to help people understand why it's important to pay attention to that light because the costs are going up.
Yeah, you mentioned that, 10% in the last year? That's a pretty important hike in the price.
Yeah, we saw 6 years where the prices were coming down. A lot of times because the repair shops had to lower their rates to be competitive. And now we're seeing a trend upward, and rates went up. It's a 10% jump nationwide. The average cost when the check engine light comes on is about $367 now.
Wow, so you mentioned 6 years that the price were not increasing or decreasing. That has to do with the recession. So in a way, I guess it's good news in the sense that the economy is recovering, but it's bad news if you don't pay attention to that check engine light because the price have gone up 10%, 367.
And it's not just because the prices went up. A lot of times we're seeing more difficult repairs as vehicles age. The average age of a vehicle is now more than 11 years old. We consulted with R.L. Polk, which is an expert on this, and CarMD is seeing that cars are really outlasting their parts. They're being designed so well these days that now we're starting to see like transmissions and catalytic converters and more expensive things that, are only designed to last 10 or 11 years. People are keeping their cars past these parts, so you are going to have to budget to have some of those more expensive repairs, and they take a little bit longer to repair, which is why also some of the labor has gone up.
I understand. Okay, so the study was conducted reviewing the data. You said about 161,000 repair services around the country. On their garages that are authorized by AAC, right? Can you explain what's that? Because it's very important, I think, that people realize that they have to pay attention where they take their cars.
Yes, CarMD always recommends that you look for a shop that has what we call the blue seal. It's automotive service excellence, and when we look for repair shops and dealerships to report to us, and when we hire people to analyze our data and support our products, we always want to make sure that they're ASE certified and ASE trained. It means that you're getting someone that knows how to work on your car, and those are the mechanics and technicians who are reporting into our database. We don't necessarily partner with the ASD organization, but we always look for shops that have certified technicians on staff.
And some people might say that taking the car to a dealership or to a certified mechanic might be more expensive, but at the end, I think it becomes more expensive if you just like try to take a shortcut and pay less for something that should be done in the proper way.
You know, there's a lot of repairs that are very low cost. In fact, the second most common reason that the check engine light comes on is because of a loose gas cap, because you didn't put it on right.
I thought that was the first one.
It's the second most common. An oxygen sensor is the first, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But it's great to see that with the loose fuel cap that people are starting to realize that is a common reason. So if you're on your way to a meeting or you just don't have time to address the check engine light right away, as long as there's no major symptoms and it's not flashing, sometimes it's okay to go ahead and fill up the tank, tighten the gas cap, and see if it goes away. If it doesn't, you absolutely need to have it looked at, because the number one reason that your check engine light comes on is a faulty oxygen sensor, and it's going to seem like your car is driving just fine, but that oxygen sensor is basically going haywire and telling your car to use up more fuel than it needs, and it's sucking down gas and hurting your fuel economy. And at the end of the day, if you ignore that problem, you're going to have the part repaired, but you're also costing yourself extra and going to the pump more frequently.
Yeah, so this is like a domino effect, right? Because can the loose cap, gas tank cap, cause the oxygen sensor to start failing?
The loose gas cap really won't do that, but it's definitely going to hurt the environment and hurt your fuel economy. But there's a lot of examples where if you ignore something small like an oxygen sensor or a spark plug, it can snowball into something more serious like a catalytic converter, and or first an ignition coil and then a catalytic converter, and it's just sort of a snowball effect. Like if you would have replaced that spark plug, it would have been, $10 to do it yourself, a couple $100 to have it done at the repair shop. You ignore that, then you're going to be doing the ignition coil and the spark plug for over $300. Ignore that, and your car is eventually going to stop working. This actually happened to my husband many years ago. Yeah. You're going to completely break down in the middle of the road, and you're going to need a new catalytic converter. The average cost for that is now $1,100. So It's not a good idea to ignore that light. A lot of people are afraid of what that light's telling you, but usually it's just something really small. But if you ignore it, it's going to cost you big dollars.
Yeah. So we're talking actually a lot of bad news, but there's also good news in the report for this year regarding hybrids and electric cars, which the repairs for those are pretty expensive still, but they're coming down, you mentioned, right?
It is so exciting to see. Every year I look at our data. CarMD tracks all repairs, but hybrids use the same system that we do, that all cars do, to monitor that check engine light. And yes, hybrid repair costs are coming down. A hybrid-related repair is no longer the most expensive repair in our database. And it's really neat to see that as more hybrids come on the road and more people buy them and there are more people qualified to service them, the repairs are coming down. Kind of like when you used to buy, a VCR or some sort of old technology. The more popular it gets and the more available it is, the costs come down. And it's just very exciting to see. Now the most common or the most expensive repair is replace transmission assembly and reprogram the electronic control module, which sounds really boring, but it's a $5,400 repair. So it's not common, but it's no longer a hybrid related repair, and we're seeing a lot of examples where hybrids are costing less to repair.
Yeah, I actually I'm driving a hybrid Ford C-Max, and I had the opportunity to drive the new Fiat 500 electric in LA this week, and those cars are fantastic. The technology is amazing, but also you have to be aware and then maintain the car and do the proper maintenance, especially with new cars, right?
Yeah, and another thing is with summer coming, it's really important to remember that heat plays a part on cars. We're seeing more battery-related replacements. Now, part of that is because the car's computer can now catch when your battery's failing in many cases, or when the charging system, the alternator, is having problems. But last year was the hottest year on record for 48 lower states. And when it's very, very extreme temperatures, it's important to realize you may have to have parts looked at and replaced more often. The battery is a perfect example.
Wow, that's great. We're talking to Christian Broca from CarMD.com. And can you please, Christian, share the exact web address for the page where people can look for more information about this?
Yeah,
and other things that you do. CarMD, I'm sure, does many other things, right?
Yes, it's www.carmd, C-A-R-M as in Mary, D as in doctor.com, and you can see a link to the whole index report. And we also have something called a vehicle health scorecard, where you can actually, for free, look up your own car, or maybe one that you're looking to buy as a used car, and see how that car ranks in terms of a letter grade, A, B, C, D, F. And then you also see the most common problems and repairs and what they cost. So you can budget for upcoming problems or see what that used car might need in the future.
Excellent. Christian Brockhoff, thank you very much for your time. Very, very interesting information. And if I ever have a car that breaks down on me, I'm going to call you, okay? Because you don't want
it to break down first. You want to catch it before it breaks down.
Okay,
so CarMD has a lot of information and tools for that.
Yeah, okay. But just in case it happens, I mean, what a great information you have been provided us. Thank you very much for your time. It's very nice talking to you. And hopefully we won't wait another year until the new report comes. We will talk sooner.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Pues ahí tienen un reporte muy interesante. La salud de los autos en Estados Unidos. El costo ha aumentado por primera vez en 6 años 10%, y ahora el promedio de una reparación es $367.86. La razón número 1 porque se prende esa lucecita del check engine en el tablero es un sensor del oxígeno, pero todo esto puede crear un efecto dominó, y si uno no le presta atención y no hace la reparación, o por lo menos lleva el auto a revisar en el momento inicial que se ve esa luz, puede empezar a causar un efecto dominó. Así que hemos puesto la información en facebook.com/auto060 para que estén pendientes. No se vayan, ya regresamos. Auto 060, yo soy Javier Mota.